ABC 15 notes that the report mentions that the Arizona Department of Child Safety had, quote, multiple previous incidents involving Rebecca and her brothers. Apparently, the DCS investigator told authorities that, yes, there were multiple reports, but that this little girl was doing this to herself and was then blaming Woods. So, Professor, let me ask you this as we go through this and we talk about were there warning signs, were there reports that could have been followed up. Is a potential, first of all, can any of this come into the criminal case involving Baptiste and Woods? Could they say, hey, listen, look, this was investigated. Nobody thought anything bad was going on. We're going to go forward with a defense that any injuries sustained were a result of this little girl. Is this potentially evidence in a criminal case as we think about it?
So I can envision a world where both the defense and the prosecution want this evidence in. It's what we call other act evidence. So it would be testimony or evidence about instances outside of the day or the specific occasion that cost Rebecca her life. And so the defense would want it because, again, it shows Woods to be cooperative with the investigation. It shows her sitting down with police and with investigators, providing an explanation. It shows repeatedly these social service agencies and law enforcement saying, well, there's not enough evidence and there's nothing we can do, which from a defense perspective, they could take to a jury and say, if the police didn't have enough evidence then, do we really have enough evidence now to convict? Is that a winning argument? I'm not sure. That would be up to a jury to listen to. But at the same time, I could imagine a prosecutor saying, well, we want this evidence in as well. We want the jury to hear about these repeated investigations, these repeated reports of abuse, because there is what's known as a course of conduct. We have Woods and Rebecca's biological father engaging in repeated behavior to discipline, to punish, to torture, to abuse this child. And that all goes into what we would call the story of the case to explain just how every support in Rebecca's life or supposed support in Rebecca's life really fell through and allowed this to happen.
Now, the Phoenix Police Department, in fact, they confirmed that they made 5 separate reports to DCS concerning the children, and none of those reports led to criminal charges. August 2018, apparently it was a welfare check. You had investigators contact DCS. December 2023, there was a welfare check. Police contacted DCS. Detectives also got in touch with DCS. February 2024, police reached out to the family for an accidental injury. DCS was also contacted. November 2024, officers were looking into this allegation, this claim of child abuse and neglect. Detectives notified DCS. April 2025, police investigated a minor injury to child. Detectives who followed up, they then contacted DCS. Professor, what stands out to you about any of that? Is that, again, is this similar to what we're talking about as we're trying to understand that relationship between authorities and DCS, trying to investigate this? It is alarming. Talk to me about those 5 separate incidents from police.
Well, I think my response and my reaction to that is, when is enough enough? When is there enough of a concern for law enforcement and for DCS to reach out to, say, an advocacy group, to have an advocate appointed to this child, to have a guardian ad litem, even if there is no litigation pending? How many times do police have to respond, or how many reports does the school need to make, or how many reports does DCS need to receive in order to say, you know what,